Boom! And just like that, I'm back. Hi, I'm Jetpack, and today we're going to talk about co-op gaming. The 63 of you who follow me have probably been wondering where I've been the past year-ish, and the truth is, a lot has happened since then. Mr. YouTube, I don't feel so good. But now that I'm back, I'm sure you have some questions for me, first of which being Jetpack. Do you plan on releasing scheduled content on a consistent basis with an unwavering standard of high quality and nerdy hijinks that will no doubt increase your internet persona and brand recognition to the point of international stardom? To that, I say, yes. Today, we are going to talk about co-op gaming, and it's probably going to be a little bit different from some of my stuff in the past, but I still hope there's something in there that you can relate to. Enjoy! Couch co-op gaming is something that's always been a significant part of my life. Some of my earliest memories are taking turns playing two-player Super Mario on the regular Nintendo, or zooming down Rainbow Road with some friends, or DK mode, slappers only, and GoldenEye. Growing up, I had the house that people came to on Fridays to play games. I remember having GoldenEye nights and Super Smash Bros. Tournaments, that kind of thing. I would always have snacks, toss a couple of frozen pizzas in the oven, and try to create an environment where me and my buddies could just have fun. And for me, gaming has always been more than just the games themselves. It's always been about the people I could play with. When friends would come over, I would want them to have fun. If a friend had never played Super Smash before, I would sit them down and go into training mode together. I would walk them through my own little tutorial where I'd teach them all the buttons and moves their character had. Looking back, I'm sure that was probably really annoying of me, but I think I just wanted them to enjoy the game as much as me, and I figured that understanding the mechanics would help. I really enjoy the cooperation aspect of co-op games. Sure, competition has its perks. It's hard to deny that I've had fun playing Ness in free-for-all mode in Smash, or tripping people up as Ling Xiaoyu in Tekken, but for me, I honestly have way more fun working as a team. A lot of people learn about teamwork from playing sports, but I've never been good at sports. I've consistently been the last picked for anything. My only real experience as a kid on what it means to work as a team came from video games. I may not be able to touch down a basket for a home run, but I will surely jump in front of a green shell to protect a friend if that means he gets across the finish line first and we can rub it in Computer Luigi's face. There was a time where I didn't really have many people in my life to play games with. But for the past few years, couch co-op has resurfaced as a way to connect thanks to my best friend. Jordan has actually been on this channel before. He had a quick cameo in another one of my videos. Since he and I have been friends, we've been playing video games with each other. We've played around 30 games together, and that doesn't fully count the single-player games where we've taken turns. Honestly, I've played so much co-op with him that it's kind of weird for me to even talk about co-op games without him here. I hope I can have him in another video because he's really just the best. I've probably played more hours of games in my life, however, Jordan is hands down better than me at every single game we've played. He's kind of a natural at anything he does, really. We've picked up new games at the same time, and he immediately picks up on how the game works. I think the only game where I'd win more is in Super Smash Bros., but even then, I find it more fun to play on a team with him while we just wreck 6 bots, or human players. Because at least with bots, you make less real-life enemies. The night I downloaded Rocket League, we played till 5 in the morning. From the get-go, it was clear he's absolutely the superior player. Luckily, I get to be on the same team as him. And that's really how I feel about Jordan in real life as well. I am blessed to have him as a friend. Whether it's been about games or life, he has been one of the biggest influences in my life. And I think couch co-op games have been a way for us to learn and grow alongside each other. One of the most significant games in our friendship has been the indie game Overcooked. But before I get into that, let me give you some context. I wish I could tell you that I'm the perfect friend, that I don't make mistakes, and that I'm always great to be around, but that's just not the case. There was a time in our friendship that things were really rocky between us, and I did a lot to put our friendship in jeopardy. It lasted, I think, about 6 or 7 months, and it sucked. But eventually, we started slowly hanging out again, and there was a pivotal moment that I won't forget where we decided that we wanted to work to restore this friendship. I don't know what you think about this kind of stuff, but for us, it was really a God thing. We knew that on our own, we couldn't mend this thing back together, but through God's forgiveness and grace, we could try this thing again. And it may sound weird, but I really believe that God used video games to help grow our friendship. Enter Overcooked. If you haven't heard of it, Overcooked is a game where you can play as chefs in an often hectic kitchen, trying to get food orders out to earn points within a time limit. Of course, for added difficulty, the kitchens change and you could be cooking on moving trucks, or on a rotating spaceship, or on a rocking pirate ship. I've often heard Overcooked labeled as the friendship killer, since people can buckle under the pressure of certain levels, but for us, it really helped in a few ways. For one, we had to learn to communicate with each other. When I'm uncomfortable in real life, I tend to get quiet. If I'm frustrated, I don't like to talk, but this game kept putting us in situations where we had to talk. Once a level gets going, the food orders you have to complete start to come in fast. We learned that we had to tell each other what recipe we were working on, or we end up duplicating an order. When we'd get done playing, we would have already talked so much that it sort of just opened up communication for us. There's also an aspect of communication in the game where, to succeed, it helps to be able to tell the other person what you need. Amidst the chaos of making tomato soup and chicken burritos and pizza, you're going to have to get ingredients, chop them up, cook them, put them on plates, serve them, then clean the plates, and just layer all of that on top of itself a couple of times, and you've got a recipe. That's not a word. And you've got a recipe for a potentially difficult and stress-inducing time. However, if you can figure out what it is you need ahead of time, you can ask the other player to get a dish cleaned or set out the next set of ingredients. And if you work together as a team, then you're going to be able to beat pretty much any level. And I think I've learned that being able to ask for help in life, being able to drop your pride and say, hey, I really need this or that, could you help me? It makes things better. You get to work as a team and learn to rely on one another. Another way to look at this as a player is trying to anticipate the other person's needs. So in the game, the layouts of the kitchens change and they'll often separate the cooks to make it difficult. Jordan may have all the ingredients while I may have access to the only cutting boards. After we started getting the hang of it, Jordan would be on top of things and make sure that there were always the next set of ingredients ready for me so I wouldn't have to ask. Or as soon as a couple of dirty plates came in, he'd find a break to go clean them so they'd be ready. This is going to get deep for a second, but the author Dietrich Bonhoeffer in his book Life Together said that no matter how much trouble someone causes you, you will not be able to hate them if you pray for them. Without going into a long theological breakdown, and if you want one, I'll gladly do so sometime, but I think what it comes down to is that for a Christian, praying for someone is an act of love. If I really love someone, then I'm going to pray for them because I believe God hears prayers and cares about them. And so, for a lesser extent, if I'm trying to anticipate someone else's needs, I'm going to be thinking outside of myself and considering what is best for that person. And I'm sure you're like, Jetpack, how does this relate to Overcooked? But in some way, even the little things like having ingredients set up for me or making sure dishes were cleaned, I knew Jordan was trying to anticipate my needs. In real life, Jordan would anticipate times where he knew I'd want to hang out. He's a busy person and doesn't always get a lot of his own alone time, but he would often take a lot of time out of his week to just come over and hang out with me. And that sounds really simple, maybe, but when he did that, I knew that he cared. And if you're trying to grow a friendship, truly caring about the other person is pretty important. We also learned how the other person worked. To be fair, Jordan's great at all of it. If I had to pick something specific, I'd say he excels at thinking fast and accomplishing anything that is mechanically difficult. He can juggle so many tasks at one time. I'd say my strengths lie in patterns, repeating tasks, and keeping an eye on what's needed at that moment. If we strategize before a game and we figure out where I need to be and what my job is, I'll be on it, but I try to adapt as needed. So for one, I remember there was a specific moment where we talked about these strengths, and I think it helped us identify and acknowledge actual real strengths that we had. I would say our in-game strengths do somewhat correlate to our real strengths. And in a way, I think because of this foundation in Overcooked, it allowed me to trust him more, and if something that requires dexterity or fast thinking comes along, I know that if I ask Jordan to do it, he'll be able to. I think that's why I like co-op gaming. When you help your friends succeed, you'll often succeed as well. Through the game, Jordan also taught me to celebrate things more. It may be something simple, but anytime we complete a level, Jordan always gives me a fist bump. Jordan is one of those types of people that it's hard to not be joyful around. I tend to be pretty mellow, but his joy is contagious and it makes me want to celebrate the wins. And that's translated into the real world and caused me to look for opportunities for celebration, whether that's with a friend, at work, or when I'm alone. As much as I'd like to say I don't make mistakes, there have been plenty of times where we've lost and it's very much my fault. The one level where you have to jump from ice block to ice block to make fish and chips is the bane of my existence. That level mostly consists of me repeatedly falling into the stream while Jordan wins it for us. But even though I can be a burden, Jordan is very quick to show me grace. He doesn't get upset if I mess things up, he's always just really calm and tries to work with me to figure out what we could do better, and that's how he handles things outside of games as well. I'm not really sure what the point of this video is. I started writing about co-op gaming and it helped me remember just how thankful I am for my friend, and if that's all this ends up being, then I'm okay with that. Games to me have always been about the people. Overcooked is a fantastic game, for sure one of the best co-op games on any platform. In some ways, I feel like I owed the developers at Ghost Town Games for making a game my friend and I could bond over. I'm highly anticipating Overcooked 2, which comes out August 7th, and though I have it pre-ordered, I'm going to have to wait a while because I want to play it with my friend. At a time when I didn't have many people I could count on, Jordan, you were okay with being my friend. And to me, you are now the embodiment of the word family. There's a lot that I want to say, but I'll probably wait to say it over food and games. You've been through the trenches with me and have helped pick me up out of the mud. When I've fallen and gotten stuck over and over, you've sacrificed your own comfort and desires to pick me up again and again and point me to truth. I have done nothing to deserve this level of friendship, and I hope that as time goes, our friendship deepens and strengthens even further, and that maybe someday I'll get to show you the same amount of love and gentleness and loyalty that you've shown me. So, brother, thank you for playing. And to everyone watching this, I hope you have a friend like Jordan in your life. This is what friendship looks like to me, and this is the effect that co-op games can have on us to build our relationships with our friends. Oh my gosh. I'm dying. Let me